Hey, why do so many of us struggle being entrepreneurs when really all we want to be is successful business owners? That's going to be the topic of today's conversation with Ron Saharian, who is a friend, an incredibly successful businessman, and my business partner in a new venture that I'm really excited to talk with you about. Ron talks about the theory of money. We get into some questions about money because a lot of us who are real purpose driven, or even a lot of us who are Christ centered or faith based, we oftentimes run into problems as we wrap our heads around money. Because is it okay to have money? Is it okay to talk about money? Let's just face it, sometimes there's a block there. And we need to understand that how much would it bless you if I was poor? There's nothing wrong with having a successful business. And I think that's the thing that a lot of us don't go after. We go after the pursuit of a great idea, but we don't always go after the pursuit of profit. Well, my friend Ron has a business called Profit First, which started out as an idea that seemed like common sense, but yet no one was applying it. And then as he went out into the world to start getting people to apply this, everybody resisted it. Because it's a discipline. It's a discipline that once you engage it in your life, you will see things unlock. And what I'm talking about is financial stewardship. In this podcast, I talk about some personal things that Kelly and I have gone through and how now we've begun to see an incredible unlocking as we talk about financial stewardships in our life, not just making money. Ron talks about the growth of his exceptional business with his business partner and where they started from, where they're going, and what we're doing now, which is actually another incredibly exciting thing that we get to reveal in this podcast, which is a new CPA roll-up company that I get the great privilege to jump into with a couple of the most legendary business executives out there, including some of the people who you've heard right here on this podcast. So tune in. We're going to wrap our heads around money. We're going to talk about how you can pay yourself first and actually get away with it, and some other cool conceptualized money theory type topics. So get ready for my friend Ron Saharian. Okay, Ron, it's great to see you today. What's going on in New Jersey right now?
Well, Jeremy, it's wonderful to be here. It's a beautiful day here in New Jersey. I'm in northern New Jersey, so I just looked left to see, and I can see the Freedom Tower. It's this big, but at least I can see it.
Awesome. Well, I want to begin by telling people how we met, which is
Sure.
actually very serendipitous. And I may have told you an abbreviated version of this story, but about a year ago, I was on a trip to North Carolina. And it was very interesting because I was going there to buy a motor coach, a
Okay.
1985 Prevost motor coach, and everything was squared away, set to go. And then me and the driver, that kind of my mechanic slash driver slash good buddy, we were headed off, and we were taking off on the plane in North Carolina when we found out that we couldn't bring the bus home. It didn't work. It didn't start. So we're on our
Oh,
way to North Carolina, realizing that we were going to have sort of a useless trip.
okay.
So that was no fun. So, I'm a faith-based guy. So me and this guy next to me, we just began to pray. We just began to pray that the Holy Spirit would guide us and direct us on that trip. And whatever happened was what God wanted us to have happen. And so we hit the ground, and I called an associate that I knew fairly well, kind of in the Wilmington area of North Carolina, and we head out there, and we were able to really bless that person with some great video assets and things. We were just on a giving trip. We
Okay.
decided we were going to show up and just sow into as many business people as we possibly could, and we're just calling all the friends we knew in North Carolina along the way. And one of them was a guy named Peter, and he was having dinner with this gal. And he said, "You guys should just come and join us and have a beer with us." And we're like, "Yes, let's do that." So we did that. And at this meeting, this woman introduced me to a concept, an accounting concept called Profit First Accounting. She sent me a video, a long video of a guy named Mike McAllowitz, giving his testimony basically of becoming super wealthy and then kind of realizing how much of a douchebag he had turned into during that time, and how much he wished he would have gotten smart about his money and how he did get smart about his money and how he changed everything for himself and created a system to help other entrepreneurs. And I began to learn it. I began to kind of, try to just figure it out, understand it, but I hadn't applied the disciplines yet in my
Right.
life. And there are some, and I can't wait for you to share some of what those disciplines are. And I'll get to the meat here right now. So fast forward, I find myself in situations now where I'm in a business with you, who is one of the founding partners of Profit First Accounting. So in some beautiful and strange way, like God keeps pushing me towards Profit First. Uh, and I haven't told you even yet this, but I believe the good Lord is telling me to apply financial stewardship, because
Mm,
if I want to get the resources of kings, I need to have the stewardship of a shepherd.
yes.
So that's you and I are gonna get even more involved together as we begin to adopt Profit First Accounting for our organization. And
Yep.
and I'm just excited to talk with you about this. You're an incredibly smart guy, super fun too, and so excited to have you here. So anyway, that's kind of how we met and just
Very cool.
everything surrounding Profit First. So how did you really get well, take me back a little bit, like um, take me back like to your desire to become an entrepreneur. Like,
Ah,
yeah, tell me a
okay.
little bit about that.
All right. So this might shock you, but I've never had a desire to be an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
I've had a desire to be a business owner,
Hmm.
right? But isn't that one in the same? In my
Yeah.
opinion, yes and no.
Okay.
Right. And so, I grew up the son of an entrepreneur. My father was in real estate. He drove limos. He had various different businesses, all sorts of stuff. And, but the only real success he had was when he was working for a business. Let's
Hmm.
put it that way. And so, entrepreneurism is you're starting from scratch, right? You're building a business, you're building another business, you're building another business, and you're just going on and on and on. Where the business owner is dedicated to one single business, and that is their only purpose, to grow that business and become really, really wealthy with that business. So, I never thought about being an entrepreneur, but I did always have a reason or a want to become a business owner. And that is because, as everybody who can hear us now, Jeremy, all business owners are rich, right?
Right.
Well, lo and behold, I was welcomed to the world of entrepreneurism by joining Mike Michalowicz and starting Profit First Professionals. So, Profit First, it's a book and it's a cash flow methodology. It's not accounting, it's not bookkeeping, it is a system that resides between financials, which are historical documents, and forecasting, which are hopes and dreams. This is the long lost system that makes all of that happen. How you do accounting, how you do bookkeeping remains the same. So I just wanted to clarify that with the audience members, because it is not accounting, and this is a system. So once you understand that it's a system, how many businesses have a cash flow system? Very few.
Very few. Good point. And thanks for the reframing there, because as you were talking about the difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner, like instantly I could feel, okay, I've got three decisions I need to make. Instantly, it made me think, I've got to focus. Instantly, it made me think, yeah, I don't want to chase two or three rabbits. I want to chase one rabbit and I want to catch the rabbit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of what you're talking about. And it seems like the system of Profit First, and I'll let you be the expert and I'll let you describe it, but it seems
Sure.
like it's a step-by-step way to help you catch the rabbit and keep the rabbit.
It's a way for cash flow clarity, is what it really is. A business owner should understand the ebbs and flows of the business, the cash actually. So if we say, right, the the cash flow is the heart of the business, right? It runs through it all. And so, but a lot of people don't understand is that what we have to do is as business owners, entrepreneurs, we need to have a system of paying ourselves first, a system of keeping our expenses in control, a system of being profitable, a system of cash flow clarity. And that's exactly what Profit First is. It's a way for every business owner, regardless of the season of business that they're in, whether you're a startup, 100-year-old business, whether you're, just getting $5,000, that's your top line, or you're $100 million company. We all want cash flow clarity. We all want real-time clarity. We all want to make sure that we're not overspending, that the spend that we are doing is having a return on it. And of course, that we're profitable so that we could make investments in the staff. We can make investments in charitable organizations. We can do so much more when we're running a healthy company.
No doubt. So, how did you get connected with Mike Michalowicz and talk about the genesis of launching this system?
Yeah, so I turned the channel a couple of times in my career. So you're never too late to start a journey, is what I want to share first and foremost. I started this when I was 42. I'm 52 right now. And so, me churning the channel is changing a career. I started off in high school and college as a welder, industrial size ovens, washers, conveyor systems. I did that for a little while through high school and college. Then I joined an organization and was in staffing. IT staffing, technical staffing, did that really, really well. But here's the thing. I focused on niche specialization. Okay. So IT staffing for pharmaceutical and financial companies. I did that. All along this journey, Mike Michalowicz has been recruiting me to help him build companies. Mike and I are buddies. We went to the same grade school. We went to the same high school. We sat at the same lunch table. Right. Okay. So he's 2 grades higher than I am, but we were still really good friends. And so Mike went on his entrepreneurial journey. I went the corporate route. And Mike kept asking me, "Hey, you want to start this company? I want to start it." I'm like, "No way. I saw what happened to my dad. I'm not eating welfare cheese. This entrepreneurial stuff is for you crazies. I do want to be a business owner, but I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to start businesses and stuff like that."
Right.
So it was, probably 10 years ago, I got a company in New York City till its all-time highest in revenue, margin, consultants on the street. It was a staffing firm. We were focused on media and entertainment companies. And I was told we're done scaling. I'm like, what does that mean? If I'm getting an override on the scale, if I'm doing this and making my money by growing and scaling and told we're done scaling, what does that mean for me? Well, I read the tea leaves, and that means we're going to be selling this bad boy, and I'm not going to get a piece of anything. So I saw the writing on the wall. I put my feelers out there and I said, "Hey, anybody got anything cool coming on?" Mike said, "Hey, Ron, I'd love you to read my manuscript. It's called Profit First." I said, "All right, cool." I read it. I was like, "This is awesome." I said, "I do this." He's like, "What do you mean you do this?" I say, "This is how I was taught to manage my money. Basically, what you've created is grandmother's envelope budgeting for businesses." I said,
Wow.
I subscribe to this. This is my mother taught me the first paycheck goes away. That's how you pay yourself. The second paycheck goes to your food, your living. Your third paycheck goes to your transportation, your insurance, your gas, all that. Your fourth paycheck is your profit. That's what you blow all your money in. I said, "Mike, basically what I've been doing is as I'm managing projects and initiatives, I have a formula and then I'm tacking on profit on top of margin, on top of all of this stuff." So Mike is like, "All right, you know what? This is great, Ron. Let's start a company and we can coach this and we can get this into the hands of all businesses across the globe." I said, "How about we get it into the hands of accountants, bookkeepers? Those can be our vehicles. Those can be our niches. Those can be the ones that are sharing this and implementing this wonderful strategy with all of their customers all over the globe." So that's how we did it. And I did it initially because I thought all business owners would eventually become rich. What I learned, that was not true, but it wasn't until, I had an epiphany. And so I was it took me a while to change, right? Like I was not an entrepreneur. I was still going to Mike's basement in his house, literally a white shirt on and slacks. I was so programmed to be an executive that it took about a year to maybe, I don't know, 9 months to a year for Mike to deprogram me. Okay. And it was a deprogram because it was building and building and building. But here's the thing. This is so important. I went to work every single day from day one, not worrying about how am I going to pay myself? How are we going to be profitable? How are we going to keep our expenses in control? How am I we going to understand? We had a system. We started our startup with this system. So all I had to do was call, sell, deliver our services. We got our first customer. The book went live August 2014. I picked up the phone August 1st, 2014, and started making phone calls. Okay. And
Who
all
are you calling at that time? Just accounting.
accountants,
Yeah.
accounting and bookkeeping firms, just picking up the phone and cold calling and saying, "Hey, listen, my business partner came out with a book. We're in complementary industries. We're not sure where this is going to take us, but yada yada yada." And I just started having conversations. Within that first month, we were able to enroll 8 accounting firms. Six
Hmm.
of them are still with us today.
What
10
kind
years.
of what kind of program or coaching did you offer at that time?
Yeah, so basically we were coaching the adoption of the book so they could
Mhm.
experience profit first in their business so that they could teach it to their customers, so they could market it as a significant differentiation in service and in marketing. So what we did is we created a membership organization of elite accounting and bookkeeping firms that all subscribe to the profit first methodology. So we had to teach them how to experience it, how to practice it, how to deliver it, how to market it, how to price it, how to build it, how to overcome the objections to it, the whole thing. And so that's what we started doing. I had to focus all on that. Okay. Not worrying about, hey, how am I going to pay myself? Because the system took care of itself. Within the first month, Mike and I paid ourselves a percentage of the revenue that was in the book. We paid ourselves, we kept our OpEx, our expenses in the percentage of book. We gave ourselves a profit distribution.
Now, hang on, hang on. Every business that I've started, and there's been many because I'm an entrepreneur, I've always reinvested all of these profits and have endeavored to make myself wait for the paycheck at the end until we finally get to a certain benchmark. We're stressed out because we're, scraping together resources, throwing them back into the business. But what you're saying is that it doesn't have to be that way.
No, we busted the doctrine of sacrifice. That is
Wow.
the world is flat. So the equation with profit first. Everybody here is familiar with sales. Mine is expenses equal profit, right? You sell, 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 manage your expenses, and whatever you have left over is the profit, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Leftovers,
yeah.
crumbs. Some people don't even eat leftovers because they don't taste good. So what you're doing, Jeremy, all your life is you've been saying, I'll pay myself later. It's not important. Profit is an afterthought. It'll eventually come there. But from a behavioral perspective, think about what you're doing to your brain, right? What comes first is important. What comes last is an afterthought. You've been psychologically telling yourself that profit is an afterthought. Well, with profit, you can pay down your debt. You can celebrate the health of the business. And here's the thing: with the right system, you can be profitable from day one. I'm not saying you're going to have enough to get your name on the next medical building, but at least you can get a cup of coffee. And for if we want to plow the money back into the business, it's fine. We can architect the bank accounts and the cash flow to do that, but you still should be paying yourself a little bit. You should still be profitable. You should still have clarity. You should still be doing that. And then you build your profit first muscle memory and you grow it. You grow it. You just don't wait for the inevitable profit.
Mm,
You can't because things are too loose out there. What
right,
if it never happens?
right. Right. Fantastic. So, how did it go for you guys then in that first year as you're making these calls and ramping up this business?
Um, it was quite disappointing.
Really?
Yeah, it was very tough. The accounting industry, bookkeeping industry did not like this. They thought it was a waste of time. They thought it was gimmicky. They thought it would be too expensive. They thought that business owners didn't need it. And so we got a lot of pushback from the establishment, if you will,
Mhm.
literally pushback saying this will not work. A whole industry, 90% of them at that time were telling us that this is a waste of time, this doesn't work, whatever. And so that's true with anything that we do new. Anything that we do, we're not going to be good at. Anything that we start with, it's going to be uncomfortable. This is where Mike and I really had to strengthen our mental fortitude. We knew we were experiencing it. It was working. We knew it would work. Grandmother's envelope budgeting, it works, right? But what we had to get through was the change, the difficulty of having an established, I mean, accountants are entrenched in their ways, man. You know, don't teach them something new. Okay.
Mm.
So we had to fight through that. And really keep persevering, taking the nose, taking the nose, taking the nose, but just keep grinding and going, knowing that the systems will take care of ourselves. Okay. It wasn't until I got a funny email from, it said, blah, 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 .au, .nz. I'm like, what the heck is this stuff? Well, those are the endings of Australia and New Zealand. I'm getting calls from Australia and New Zealand. They want to hear about profit first. I'm
Mm.
talking to Laura Eccleslassie. She's like, we need more. This is great. We want this. How do I do this? I'm like, oh my God, they get it. Turns out that the Australia is kind of ahead of America when it comes to accounting, methodologies, teachings, technology, the whole thing. I'm like, holy cow. So that gave us the little extra to keep going, to keep going, to keep going. Whereas today, the book's been translated into 30 different languages. We have Profit First US, Canada, Germany, Belgium, Australia, New Zealand, United Kingdom, Israel. And that's where we have replications of what we're doing here in America. We have over 400 certified firms in America, and we're in about 40 other countries. We are now considered the largest brand on small business profitability because this shit works.
Wow. So, what did that feel like when things really started to kind of take off? And then describe your business at that point. Like, what were you going through? Seems like you're juggling a lot because now you're really building, growing, scaling a little bit.
Yeah, we had to use profit first as a growth tool. Most people read the book. Most businesses are suffering. Most businesses are paid to check. But we had to use profit first as a growth tool. Okay. And so when in doubt, open an account. So now we had to hire, we had to scale, we had to test the elasticity of the cash flow to understand how much we could spend, where we wanted to spend. So here's the example. One of the things is that profit first will identify when you can buy a resource, a human, an employee, okay,
Hmm.
and how much you can afford by testing the elasticity of the cash flow. This is what Mike and I did. Okay, we knew we were going to have to afford a new employee. What we did is we said, okay, what is the monthly investment we want to make on this employee? Say it's 5,000. Okay, that's a fully burdened 5,000. That's our overhead. That's a new computer. That's, you know, enough in there for, I don't know, spilt batter, burnt muffins, freebies, technology upgrades, a real burden. Okay. But just let's say it's 5,000. So how do we know how do we know if we can afford this? What if, you know, people don't pay? What if, you know, we lose customers? So what we did is we open up, and we still have this today, a new hire account. What we did is we split 5,000 in half, 2,500. On the 15th, we moved it into the new hire account. Could we still pay our bills? Yes. The next 25 on the 25th, could we still pay our bills? Yes. We did that another month. Okay. Could we still pay our bills? Yes. We did that a third month. On the final one allocation of that 2,500, no, we couldn't. What's going on? Why not? Oh, billing was a month late. I mean, a day late. It was one of those funny months, but it
Oh.
came in the next day. What we just proven that if the company remains the same, we can make that $5,000 investment in a person. What we did was we had first 90 days of salary already prepaid. From a behavioral perspective, we weren't like, how are we going to afford this person? We got to sell. We got to get more money. We got to afford this person. What if we don't? No, we had it already earmarked. And now we were focused on education, training. We didn't have to worry about how they're going to pay themselves. We already used the system of allocation to determine what we needed to do. So we did that when we needed to move, okay, because we got kicked out of the basement. Miss Krista, Mike's wife, was like, "Hey guys,
Yeah.
there's like 80 of you down here, and I don't hear sewing machines, and this ain't a sweatshop. If this is a real company, get out."
Yeah.
So we applied the same process. We went shopping for real estate. What is the square foot we need? What is the average month there? We found a location. And what we said is we also tested the elasticity. We tested 3,000. All right. Rent's expensive over here. We did it for 3 months. What we did is we ended up investing in a place that was significantly cheaper, but we still started paying more than what our lease was because the lease was rising year after year after year. So we were living the lie to the
Right.
point where we were doing it. So what we were doing was we were living the system. The system allowed us to keep the ebbs and flows, have financial clarity while investing in the growth of the business, while also holding our percentages and guardrails in place so that we would constantly be paying ourselves, constantly have money for profit distributions. Erin, our first employee, she's still with us. She gets profit sharing distributions since she started in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would you have done if, say, you got to that point in the monthly cycle and you couldn't put the $2,500?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've done that or helped companies, that have had that happen. What happens in that situation?
It's the business telling you you can't afford that resource. So you either have to sell more, increase your margins, become more efficient. Those are the only three things we could have done at that particular point. And that has happened. There's been times where I wanted to make an investment in something and it's we don't have the money to do it. Okay. And so rather than sacrificing profit, owners pay, our guardrails keep us from stealing from Peter to pay Paul and forces us to be more creative, more inventive, get more out of less, if you will, and figure out a system, if you will, or a program process that will allow us to make sure that we do have the money available for this particular investment.
That's fantastic. So, what is what are some of the things you've been most proud of as, because I know you're starting to really, you guys have, you're going to, I guess, events, accounting events. You guys are very well known in your industry. What are some things that you just can really hang your hat on that make you just really happy about the past, 10 years?
Yeah, so bragging, I'll brag a little bit,
Yeah,
and
this
this
is
is
where you get a chance to brag on yourself because
yeah.
I always love to hear people talk about their successes.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to brag about this because one of the things is we designed a family first environment. I was a corporate guy. Mike was a corporate guy. People are a-holes. They treat people like crap. It's fake friendships and stuff like that. And I watched my wife be treated how she was treated when we had our baby. So I didn't want that. I wanted the opposite. Family first environment, which means anybody can miss anything in this organization to do something with their family. I don't care what it is or what we have going on. Jeremy, if you want to go take your kid to, a recital that you have at 10 o'clock a.m. and we have our third quarterly meeting, bye bye, go ahead, attend it. We got your back. That's more important than we have here. Okay. No problem. We have half day Fridays all year round. We have up to 8 weeks paid vacation. Aaron gets 8 weeks paid vacation. That's a lot. We have a book club. We do quarterly events where we travel. We have a mission. Our mission is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty.
Mm.
They have autonomy. We have a family account that they can draw out of and give gifts, to each other as well as various different things. We have two profit sharing components. Okay. One is a quarterly profit distribution, then the year end, profit share. Basically, it's a defined benefits program where the actuary tells Mike and I how much we have to give to the employee, invest in the employees, allows us some additional benefits, right? My attrition, I don't have attrition. I don't have an attraction problem either. Right. So I've designed the business and the pricing for culture, for spilt batter, burnt muffins, freebies, for gifts, for, people to want to come to work and it be mattered, heard, felt, but also family's the most important thing here. And it's been pretty successful, knock on wood, that we've been able to do that for 10 years.
Well, here's the sort of secret thing that most people don't know that I think corporate America is missing out on and has since the beginning of time, since, destructive child labor, in the 1800s. It's like
Don't get me going on the educational system.
when you have a strong family unit, you have a strong worker, you have a strong executive, you know, um, relationship training, things like that, or even resources for your spousal relationship training. I mean, imagine how distracted a person becomes the entire year they're going through a divorce. If you can rescue people in their marriage by giving them tools or by giving them a scholarship or a fund or the opportunity to have time off to go take some
Yeah.
counseling or something like that, kind of it seems to me like it fits inside that philosophy of ensuring the strength of your workforce and loyalty of your workforce by sewing into those things that make
Well,
them happier.
yeah, well, my job here, I'm a visionary and a doer, get things done. I'm not an integrator. That's too much going on for me. So, but I know how to get things done and I'm a visionary. And we want people to, come here because and stay here because my job is to help them live the lifestyle that they've always wanted. They have goals. They have aspirations. I want to help them accomplish that, right? I want to help them accomplish the beach house. I want to help them accomplish, taking their daughter or kid to college and not have to worry about their job, where they don't have to worry about doing payroll or they don't have to worry about, getting fired because, should I ask if I'm going to be late because I want to take my daughter to the dentist. You know what I mean? All sorts of stuff like that. The job of the CEO, the owner, is to help your employee. One of the most important jobs is to help your employees accomplish what they want to accomplish in their life. It's that simple.
That's so beautiful. It's so rare to even hear these words too, and I'm so glad to be in business with you.
Yeah.
And
People don't get it, Jeremy.
you
So
don't,
they
they,
don't. The
they do not.
staff, they've had PSTD. They come out of corporate environment, and I'm sharing all this stuff. They're like, no, they don't believe it. They don't believe it
One
until they
time
experience it.
I had when I hired my first admin, and by the way, I didn't hire it, the way you described that I should hire it. I basically took a risk and thought, well, I wanted to move. I've made significant strides and need to make more in moving from gut to data.
Mhm.
And so I love your data approach. I had an employee that asked me if their son could come and have lunch with them at the office. And I was like, why did this person even ask me this question? Like I mean, I would just assume that that would be okay, but in the previous places they've had, family wasn't allowed in. They weren't even allowed into that workplace. And so I was like, yes, absolutely. And that person's stomach problems went down 100% just because the stress level of am I going to get fired or am I going to get yelled at or reprimanded for just having lunch with their son or daughter
Yeah.
in a week. It doesn't make sense to me.
We involve the children of our employees. We have a global conference every year where people come in from all over the world to celebrate with each other. And the younger kids are the high fivers. Literally, they have shirts on and that say high five, and they just go around and they high five people, right? Well, Not when we had COVID, because no one was allowed to do that.
Yeah.
But they're involved. They come to our classes. We put on programs for Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. We all everything that we can do. They all the kids here, all of our children, they have envelopes. They're learning profit first right away. My daughter just started freshman year of high school. She's had envelopes and money book for 100 years. We got to teach kids the right. They don't teach this in high school. They don't teach this in college. They don't teach it in grade school, right? So we got to get this hands into as many people as humanly possible. We're creating great stewards of fiscal responsibility.
Well, I've got to get it in the hands of my kids. I've got to get it in the hands of my organization. So that's something that Kelly and I have really been talking about, meditating about as we're moving forward in our lives.
Yeah.
Because, if let me just share something with you and my audience here, like I made a shift in my business about 2 years ago to scale. And I didn't realize how expensive it would be to scale. And I wasn't prepared for that either. I just had a chunk of money and I thought, okay, I'm going to start spending this money. And
Yeah.
I got to the point where we would look at the money and the numbers just didn't look great, and we're like, well, but we know the theory of our plan. We know it's going to work. It's a 2-year plan. Let's just keep pushing forward. So we just kind of kept pushing forward. And every month it was, in the negative, in the negative, in the negative. And we're like, I got to the point, Ron, where I almost became afraid to step on the scale because
Yeah.
I didn't want to see the number.
That's
And
what happens.
and I allowed myself to stay in that place of fear. And I allowed myself to stay in that place of spending whatever money I could to support my identity, to keep things together, for
Right.
everybody and the whole team. So there was no changes because change inside an organization can cause even more fear. And we'd already experienced, some of that. And so it wasn't until very, very recently that I brought the financial situation to my leadership team, and I said, "Hey, we're going to make some changes here. We have to, and I need your help to do it." And
Yeah.
everybody got on board. No one cared about my identity. The only thing they cared about was staying together and doing
Yes.
whatever it takes to stay together because what we've created is something beautiful. And what I've noticed in the past, even 2 weeks, when Kelly and I have looked at each other and said, we are focusing on financial stewardship, everything begins to unlock from that point on. And all of the blessings, all of the resources that I was waiting for, they didn't show up until I made the decision to be a good steward of my resources. Not a good steward of my identity, not a good steward of a big idea, but a good steward of my resources so that I could equip people myself to be to have the resources that I need to be able to go out and bless people the way you're talking about. You and I,
Yeah.
we're cut from the same cloth. Guys like you and I deserve to have resources because otherwise people are being employed by somebody else that doesn't give a crap about them or their family. It is a ministry in a way.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's what Mike and I said. We were talking
Really?
about some of these $100 million companies and stuff. And yeah, I would love to be that big. I would love to, do this stuff. And that's not our goal. We're running a church, if you
Yeah.
will. It's
Yeah.
going to be a mega church, but the values, I mean, there's nothing wrong with profit. Profit is not bad. There's bad people out there that make a lot of money. That's an issue, right?
Mhm.
But with profit, you can pay down debt. You can celebrate the health of the company. You can hire when people can hire. Maybe my dad had a job, right? And I didn't have to live that lifestyle.
Right.
Small businesses are the backbone of America. Main streets are the backbone. It's not Wall Street. And we need to help smaller businesses succeed. They employ the most people. And if we can help them, accomplish this, that's what it's about. We want people to enjoy life. And, by busting the doctrine of sacrifice, by doing things that are different, yes, you are going to profit first. And by the way, Jeremy, I have 10 books for your audience. All they have to do is email you their address Okay. Where they want a book, you'll send it over to me and I will gift them a Profit First book.
Let's talk about that now. So, because we are going to put all of your information in the show notes, and I'll have you deliver me.
Up to 10 in America only. I'm not sending anything
Okay.
to Siberia.
Fair enough. So we'll have you email Beth the link or whatever it is you need in the show notes.
Yeah.
So anybody who listens to this can connect with you and your organization, or possibly even a certified profit
Profit First. Yeah.
accountant professional that you could connect them with. And we'll definitely make sure that we do that. And I definitely want to have a closer relationship with you and your organization with mine, because it's time for all of us to have the stewardship that we need to,
Yeah,
hit.
and you start slow. You start small, right? Like, I mean, you're running a nice business. We're not going to go in there and upset the apple cart. And
Mhm.
here's the thing, the book is conceptually simple. It's conceptually simple, right? All you're doing is opening up a bank account, adding a percentage to that bank account, and the only thing you can do use that bank account is for the title on it, right? Conceptually simple. The devils are in the details. Big time. So our members, our global accounting network, they have to go through comprehensive certification to get this right. They have to deploy this in their own business. We have to teach them how to experience, how to do it right, because done wrong, and somebody who just reads the book and starts guessing about it, holy cow. That's like reading a book on, I don't know, chiropractic and going, "Hey, Jeremy, you want me to crack your back?" Right? And
Right.
and Right. And if cash flow is the lifeline of your business, why wouldn't you want to make the investment to work with an expert, somebody that's certified in it, somebody that's not only been doing it in their business, but that's been trained by the guys that created this thing and which they deploy to all of their customers, besides some Yahoo that read it and said, "Yeah, I could do this." Yeah, they can. Not that well, though, and it might cost you in the long run.
Authenticity, I think now, especially in the age of AI, is the most valued commodity that we can get. I think people are really looking for authenticity. It's why digital marketing has changed. It's because people they've been taken too much by these big ticket items, and now they want to
I,
know that it works.
a friend of mine, and she's a partner here at Profit First. And when I mean partner, she supplies her services to our members. Her name's Michelle Weinstein. She's like, Ron, she calls it pitch slap. Pitch slap. We are pitched so much every single day by marketing, by accounting, by this sales, by this real estate, by invest in me, look at my body, look at my food, look at this. It's pitch slap. We're just getting slapped all
Right.
over the place, and it's sick and tired. Everybody's sick and tired of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me throw a zinger at you, because this is important. I the people that I hang out with are very people first, people money second
Yeah.
people. So a lot of times, as we set our goals and as we talk about what we want out of life or deserve out of life, um, humble people and people who put other people first often have a mental block when it comes to money. They think, well, okay, I want to have all the resources to be able to have the business and the company that I want, but I don't want to be filthy rich, or I don't want to be so rich, or I don't want to focus so much on money that that becomes my central value. And so they get confused. They get blocked with wanting or desiring or a better financial outcome, but yet their morals and ethics, kind of like their values and their morals, are kind of crisscrossed. So, like, how do you help coach somebody through that, or what ideas or opinions do you have around that could help somebody say, hey, you know what, how much would it bless you if I was broke? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And so what we're talking about is some sort of money trauma.
Hmm.
Okay, right,
Okay.
is what we're talking about. And we can all thank our parents for that, and we can thank their parents for that. It's also a cultural thing. In the Netherlands, profit is a bad word. You're not supposed to be, succeeding above everybody else, and profit first. I made the mistake of yelling it to churches, ministries, nonprofits. Those are still businesses. They still need to run cash flow. They still need to, have a well-run organization. And so the profit first is not about profit first. It's a catchy line. It is about people first. It's about
Beautiful. Thank you for that. That's going to help a lot of people. Thanks, Ron. Now let's take the last little bit that we've got and let's talk about what we're working on together, which
yeah.
I'm really excited about because we get to take the expertise of 4 or 5 industry titans and combine them together. And so let's talk about that. I'll let you kick that off.
Yeah.
Actually, tell me kind of how you got introduced to, and guys, what we're talking about is it's a new business that Ron and I are working on with a few business partners, and it is an opportunity where we are acquiring CPA and bookkeeping firms, and we're rolling them up. And the goal is to create one larger company that has tremendous value for us to be able to serve a larger demographic of people. Let's talk about how you got started in this. And so people
Yeah.
know, and there's been some others that have been on this podcast, like Darren Jacklin has been on this podcast. And as you know, he was on the original board of directors for eXp Realty and really helped launch and expand a revolutionary real estate company that is one of
Yeah.
the only profitable real estate companies right now in these cloud-based real estate companies. Everything is moving towards that direction. So real visionary guy. Carl Gould, he is the author of the book 7-Stage Advisors. Would love to get him, in an interview at some point. And also, he helped Tony Robbins launch his original coaching package. So some very high-level people. And of course, Tatiana Mercedes, one of the most organizational, just absolutely brilliant people that I know. She was really a school teacher for many years. So her ability to organize her quote unquote classroom, she is such a phenomenal leader, has an incredible heart for people. And so I really feel privileged to be a part of this organization, especially since,
Right.
your skill set is so perfectly matched for this. Sometimes I wonder, why I'm the odd guy in the room. However, it wasn't until we were on like 2 or 3 calls that I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is just flipping houses, right? This, this is just buying a piece of property that has tremendous value, that has opportunity to increase the value. So we
Yeah.
buy it, we go in, we remodel it, and now it's worth more. And now we buy another one and we do another one.
Yeah. So the reason I'm doing that is and I've been working with accounting firms for 10 years, helping them position themselves for acquisition, or to generational turnover or to anchor it in a community. And what I've saw was private equity coming on in and basically ripping apart the accounting firms where the business owner had really not mentored, but have grown people. Often, they're looking to leave. And I've seen private equity lowball, get the number they want, and then just really cut staff. Just get rid of staff. The customer service has gone down, and the legacy of the original owner has a black eye now because the business is nothing like it was. So what I wanted to do is I needed to learn on, how can we better prepare our members for sale? How can I do a better job of helping them navigate the challenges of selling? Most businesses sell because they're sick and tired of it. Okay. How can I turn them into not being sick and tired of their business? But if they still want to sell, get a great multiple, right? Accounting firms are a one multiple, but if they're profitable and they're doing this and they're doing this, they should be a lot more. So I didn't like what was happening to our members. So I decided to reach out to a few members and say, hey, listen, I've got not members, but folks that I know, and said, I got some bandwidth. I'm looking to help out. Anybody have anything kind of cool that's going on? I know Carl. Carl was a speaker at one of our events. He's also a friend of Mike McAllowitz's. I know him as a super entrepreneur. And he approached me about a couple of investing ideas. It really wasn't my cup of tea. Then we started talking about what he was doing and and I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, I think I can help. I want to help. And this is my point of view. And Carl's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And so, my role is kind of the accountant knowledge, if you will, the accounting industry knowledge, the bookkeeping industry knowledge, understanding the comings and goings, understanding the tech stack, understanding the challenges, understanding, what the firm of the future is today, and also what's going to be the firm of the future tomorrow, while applying, a lot of the faith-based and profit-first principles that Jeremy and I have been sharing
Mhm.
over this call. We want to create a great place, where people are enjoying coming to work, that they have the freedom, they're making money, and we're helping them accomplish what they're doing.
Great point. As I got into this and had the opportunity to really sit and listen and feel out where I could best be, a help in the organization, that's where I really started to connect as well. And I thought, okay, so we have a key business owner who has developed a business and now they're looking to exit. Like you said, they have developed staff that has been loyal to them, and they can't leave because they are the figurehead. If they leave, then their staff might lose a job. Maybe they don't have the skill set, or no one's shown them, or they haven't started looking for that exit pathway to maybe pass that on to somebody, or that succession plan that everybody desperately needs once they get to a
Right.
certain age. And then they've got their trusted client base who loves to hear from them.
Yeah.
How do we move from a solopreneur to a systemized, business that actually works? And how do we help people exit that scenario when customer service is what they've come to expect? Well, what
Right.
we do is we can come in and we can say, well, we know what works in the world of CPA and accounting, and we also know what products that customers desperately need. So if you love your customers, but you're not providing them these two products that they desperately need, that's where we can help come in and add value to what you've already done, help you have a slow exit while we make sure that we come in and don't make a lot of changes really in that first
Yeah.
year. Well, we come in and coach your team to.
That's the changes. That's the change. Like real coaching. I mean, with all due respect, it's real coaching by real people that have real lives experience that they're actually sharing, right? And mentoring. Tatiana's doing a wonderful job. You're doing a wonderful job. Everybody, I mean, it's because we're all dedicated to the success of these individuals.
Well, it's fun. It's exciting. As a matter of fact, I just got an email today. I'm excited to share with you guys of a bookkeeper that I know that I reached out to, about 6 months ago. And she said, "Hey, Jeremy, you guys still acquiring bookkeeping firms?" And sent me a list of about 7 different firms in a variety of different areas. So
Nice.
now we've got some work to do. We've got some digging and
Love
some
it.
bit of research to do. But I'm very fortunate to be in that roll-up company with you guys, because I think we will make a lot of money, and I also think we're going to help a lot of people, because it seems like most other roll-up companies, and it seems to be fashionable. I mean, there's people are rolling up HVAC companies. People are rolling up plumbing companies. They're rolling up.
Everything.
Everything's getting rolled up right now, just
Yeah.
because people need better systems, and frankly, the small entrepreneur isn't the best at them. You know,
No.
the
Well,
small business owner.
also, one of the things is that the CPA, my experience is the legacy CPA owner, never really made the migration to CEO.
Mm.
They're still wrenching on a few accounts. They're still managing phone calls here and there. They're
Camping
still,
out during tax season in the office.
yeah, yeah. They've never really put that CEO hat on and, started functioning as a CEO. They have one foot in it, one foot, in the client. And they're that way. That's why a lot of them are not growing. They're not growing. And that's why a lot of them hate the business because, they're still 50, 60, 70, still doing the same thing that they did when they were 20, 30, 40.
And things keep changing. Tax
Yep.
keeps changing. So it's a lot to maintain and it's a lot to keep up with, for an individual person. So I'm overjoyed. If you are somebody who is a CPA or a bookkeeper and if this resonates with you, if you would like to have a team come in and help consult you on how to exit and how to make sure that your team is taken care of and actually left in good hands, because we're
Right.
actually going to help sow into them and grow them. We also want to help sow into and then grow your client base and give them opportunities that maybe you haven't thought of yet, just because you're so focused on customer service and taking care of those people. So there's I think the team, the what is the term? The sum of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what we're about. We're about the power that comes from a mastermind and how we
That's
can,
what it is, which is,
yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. I mean, watching the staff grow and embracing the change, because the changes, while minimal, people run from change. But it's a necessity. So as you're experiencing change and it's uncomfortable, that's when we got to strengthen our mental fortitude. This is when we really got to buckle down and enjoy the suck, right? That's where we got to enjoy the learning curve. It's like, when my daughter, when they first got TikTok, right? It was a pain in the butt for me because she's like, Daddy, let me use your phone. Then she had to figure out the phone. Then she had to do a dance. Then she had to do this and do everything. Uh, but eventually, after a couple of years, she's awesome at it and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Now, imagine if she put that passion towards Spanish, right? Don't
Yes.
judge my parenting. That's a whole nother topic. But right, she doesn't, and I didn't portray the success that's going to come with learning a new language. Right. It was, she has to do it, still doing it, but she wasn't doing it because she was enjoying the process of getting to expertise. So as you're implementing Profit First, as you're learning AI, as you're learning anything, understand that uncomfortableness is the body actually learning, and stick through it. You're almost there. You're almost there. Keep going through it and persevere.
It's the pain of the first 2 weeks of a gym membership, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel good, but that's good pain. That pain is a signal. It means you're growing.
You're growing.
So
Yep.
I
And
love
don't do
that.
it alone. Get a trainer or a certified Profit First professional.
Exactly. You can't. You can't. We need a coach to kick us in the butt.
Yeah.
The buddy system,
Yep.
And better yet, get a buddy and go and grab the Profit First system so that you have somebody on your level that you can talk about and see how the changes are going in
Oh,
your business.
it's awesome.
It takes a tribe, and
Yeah.
so I can't wait to get closer to your tribe, Ron, get to know you better on a personal level, and also
Yeah.
get my organization, locked into keeping profit, right? It's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep, right?
Yeah. That's what we buy stuff with.
That's right. Okay, well, pleasure talking with
All
you.
right.
Thanks for
Thanks, Jeremy.
your
Thanks for
opinions
the
and education.
opportunity.
You bet.
Well, a big thank you for listening to the end of our podcast. I know your time is valuable, and I hope you got a few takeaways that are going to help you get a greater return on that time. I know you will. And if you did enjoy it, I'd sure appreciate a share or a comment. Feel free to subscribe for instant access to new episodes and offers. There's also a ton of free content and ways to learn more and engage more at worleyrealestatenetwork.com. Until then, we'll continue to bring you recipes for success and real stories from real people who, like you, are living out your divine purpose. And hey, God loves you. No matter what happens, don't give up.
Agents and builders, we gather and share tips on the trade, knowledge laid bare. Making connections, dreams taking flight. Join us, we're soaring through day and night. So tune in and share, let inspiration flow. Cocktails and dreams, together we grow.